The school year is up and running, but as you know, we're online. This means you actually have to try this year. The comparison between last semester and this semester is night and day. I know some of you haven't been a fan of online school, but it's because you haven't given it a fair shot. I'm gonna show you how to make the most of your online education and not make it suck. Number 1, don't stay up till 1 a.m. watching TikTok. This is about the worst thing you could do. I don't know what it is about the app that makes it so addicting, but find the courage to just turn it off.
Wait, so I could get more sleep if I put my phone away earlier?
Yes, that's exactly how that works. Number 2, find a productive workspace and get out of bed. You're not going to be motivated if you don't take the time to set yourself up for success. Get to a place you can set up everything and stay focused. Like a desk. Number 3, eat a breakfast. Don't complain that you're hungry when you could have woken up a little bit earlier and gotten a little something to eat. And number 4, you better not wake up at 7:43 for a class that starts at 7:45. This allows you no time to do anything like eat breakfast, get situated at your desk, or even watch a TikTok. Long story short, you've got to get with it. Set yourself up for success, go to bed early, eat your breakfast, get in the right headspace, because this is the new normal and you're living in the past.
So the election is right around the corner and you're wondering how you can get involved, but you're under 18 years old. Well, I went to go talk to Mr. Schmoida, the teacher of the election class here at Blue Valley North, to ask how you can get involved in the election when you're under 18 years old.
You can, the great part about being involved is that at 18 you get the vote, right? But you don't have to be 18 to volunteer for a campaign. You don't have to be a volunteer to go do voter registration drives. You don't have to be 18 to do a lot of those things. But volunteering for a campaign is the main thing. You can actually work at, I have some of the students from my class are actually doing this. They're going to do work at the polls on election day because they're short on poll workers this year. And you don't have to be 18 to do that, actually. So that'd be another thing. Work on a campaign, work on polls on election day. Host a mock election at your school. You know, if it's a student that's not at North, find your principal or librarian and say, we want to do a mock election and arrange for that. It's easier than it's ever been to host or run a mock election because everything can be done with a Google Doc. You know what I mean? Or everything can be done on computer. It's so easy to do. And the data can be collected and you can be responsible for pushing it out. And there's so many lessons to be learned in that because, again, it's not just turning on a television and watching it. You're creating the story there. So I think it's cool.
So let's have a quick recap. You can volunteer at the election polls on November 3rd, you can work on a local campaign, or you can run a mock election at your school. If you have any other ideas of how to get involved in the election, feel free to comment below.
So I'm Carolyn, I play flute, and I'm 14.
I'm Joseph Madigan, I'm a senior and I play the tuba. It's short for Mustang Athletic Band, and basically it's this year's safer alternative to the Marching Mustangs.
We do a little bit of marching. I mean, it's not a lot, but then during the football game, we go up and play some songs like the Fight Song or Seven Nation Army and some other really fun songs.
Okay, so how is the MAB different from the Marching Mustangs?
Well, in all of our previous marching shows with the Marching Mustangs, we had a lot of movement, we were very mobile and visual, and they included lots of good sequences, but that's not really possible this year. So the MAB is basically a simplified version of the show. My favorite part of the MAB was just being able to do band. I'm just really glad to have one last chance to do something that I love after such a long time of not being able to do it.
All the great friends I get to meet and be with, and getting to watch the football game, it was a lot of fun. I'm sure I would enjoy it a lot more if it were all in person, because I don't get a lot out of the Zoom meetings. And playing with a mask isn't always the easiest, especially being a flute. You have to like figure out a way to get your flute into the mask. And I mean, you can't really be close to anyone. You have to stay separated, and it's also hard to talk through your mask. So there's lots of things playing into why it's difficult.
I'm especially bummed that this year is my senior year and we weren't able to have a full marching season, but I'm glad that we were able to peek in the MAB to experience at least a part of what we had. It was nice ending for my family.
Well, hello there. I didn't see you. My name's Jeffrey. Now, I have a riddle for you. What do Jackson Pollock, Vincent van Gogh, and Pablo Picasso all have in common? Now, if you were to say they were all men with severe alcohol issues, you'd be right. But more importantly, they were painters. And that's what we'll be focusing on today. Painting. Now, come on. Let's get started. Now, before we get started, we need 4 simple things. In order to paint, you gotta have paint. Now, paint is any liquid that leaves a mark. So, asks everyone, what can I use as a paint? Let's try it out here. I have 3 objects that could be used as paint or could not. Let's see if we can figure it out. Now, what about this? Is this paint? Yes, this is called acrylic paint. Now, what about this one? Sadly, no. You can't use that as paint. Now, finally, what about this? Actually, yes, you can paint with this. Good job. Now, let's move on. Now that we got that nifty paint, we gotta get some tools for application. That's where brushes come in. Once again, which ones can you use as a brush and which ones can you not? Trick question. You can use all of these as a brush. Hell, you can even use your own hand. Now that we have a paintbrush and paint, we must apply that somewhere. Now, usually we use a canvas, but if you don't have a canvas with you, you can use these items instead. Finally, now that we have our paintbrush and canvas, we can move on to the last material needed. You can't paint without yourself, silly. So let's get started with the actual painting. Now, when it comes to the actual painting part, you can pretty much do anything you want to do. Finger painting, realism, cubism, abstract, or just putting a dot on a piece of paper. That's all painting in my book. Look what I did. I used my fingers as a brush and created an amazing scene. Or look at these 2 paintings. They decided to use brushes and paint more advanced, harder objects. But in my opinion, I still prefer mine. Well, I've taught you all that I know about painting. Now that you have all your materials and you know what to do, enjoy the wonderful world of painting. And goodbye.
Thank you guys so much for watching our first North Report of the school year. We had a really fun time putting the show together, and we really hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to keep up with our other videos, then head over to our Instagram at BVN Broadcast.